Hey, got something really cool I wanted to run by and let you know what's going on. So I'm starting a group that will start taking a deep dive into each one of these episodes. So we'll collectively come together and talk about the shows, talk about the guests. I'll be bringing back some of the guests to do some Q&A sessions and really take a further dive into their story, their journey, the episode, talk about, maybe some of the things you wish I would have asked on the episodes, do some Q&A sessions and the like. As a friend put it to me, it's really like a book club, but for the podcast. So a couple times a week, we'll go in, we'll break down the favorite shows of the week, and have cool discussions around everything that we've heard, we've learned, and want to know about their journey. Some of these guests will come in and they'll teach part of, what makes them awesome at what they do. And then, as always, I'll be providing regular value and content in this group. It's really cool because this only is going to cost $5 a month to join this group. And you'll be able to come in, interact with everybody else in there. So I'll put a link right in the show notes for this that you can jump in, come have a conversation with us, and we will really deep dive into each one of these episodes and help us all rise up together. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's going to be a great show today. Having the show wasn't something I started out to do. But the day I found out somebody wanted to really sponsor the show was a really, really cool experience. So, guys, I want you to take some time to go check out Point Blank Safety Services and their new nonprofit, Blue Family Fund. These guys are doing some really, really cool things. And Stacy McGovern, who's the CEO over there, has been a dear friend, and she was a guest on the show. But these guys are literally taking, the off-duty officers and putting them out in security guard role. And here's what's cool about it is, as they're protecting our lives, they don't make a whole lot of money in that regard. No first responders are paid for the value they provide for our safety and our health and taking care of us. So these guys, Stacy and her team over at Point Blank Safety Services have really found a cool way to give back to these officers by helping them provide an additional income so they can continue to support and protect us. So do me a favor, guys. Seriously, go check out pointblanksafety.com and then go look at their nonprofit, which is Blue Family Fund. Now, this nonprofit was created because of the success of Point Blank Safety Services. They wanted to give back to the families of fallen officers and be able to give scholarships away to the families of current, police officers. So do me a favor. It would mean the world to me if you would go out and help support this show by supporting Point Blank Safety Services and their nonprofit Blue Family Fund. Just tell them Donnie has sent you. You heard it on Donnie Success Champions, and Stacy will take a tremendous and amazing care of you. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, another great episode of Fridays with Donnie. I'm your host, Donnie Boivin, and it's just a damn good day. And here's why. As I continue on my journey, I keep learning one simple rule. And I think this has become the theme of everything about my business, my podcast, my life. And that theme is take action. Everybody has this thing in their life where a lot of those self-doubt messages creep in, and a lot of those thought processes pop in their head that they just seem to struggle with. I can tell you on my journey, as part of my story, one of the biggest things that I struggled with was imposter syndrome. I always worried that, could I, should I? And when I thought about, was I good enough, strong enough, fast enough, those type of things, a unique thing would pop in my head is I would start telling myself I'm lazy. And I can tell you several times on my journey, I had to really battle with this thought process that, am I lazy or what's going on here? Because I can tell you, is owning a farm, I mean, I can get up at the crack of dawn and I can work until well past sundown and do nonstop, chopping down trees and, splitting logs and mowing acreage. And, I can do a lot of damn work. But I can tell you that several times in my life, I was at work, but I wasn't working. And what I mean is I would be there and I would be sociable. I would be, conversational. I would check on a few jobs and things here and there, but I never really was working. It's almost like I was doing things to avoid working. And what's odd about that is I was, celebrated. Because I was an outgoing guy, people would be like, dude, he's doing well, and it was interesting. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some successful careers, but it wasn't because I was busting my ass and outworking anybody else. I was doing enough to get by, and in the same token, telling myself I'm lazy. It all comes down to, I wasn't being lazy. I was dealing with some sort of imposter syndrome, but more importantly, I was dealing with some sort of, escapism. It was more fun to get into conversations with people. It was more fun to say hi to people and go to networking events versus actually doing the work. And that was a serious wild thing, because here's what happens is you show up and you go to work like you're supposed to. And then once you're there, you take an hour to get a cup of coffee because you've got to talk to everybody on the way. Then you walk around and finally get back to your desk. You move the business cards from one side of your desk to the other. And now you find yourself trying to get to work, but then there's a meeting, there's a networking event, then there's something, right? And then at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, man, I didn't do anything today. And the crazy thing about that is now you're disappointed and frustrated in yourself because you need to be doing things to grow your business. But you just spent the entire day doing everything but grow your business, and now you're disappointed in yourself. It's the craziest thing in the world. We self-sabotage so much because we want to avoid the pain in the now. We want to avoid the uncomfortableness of whatever now versus trying to embrace life later. And here's the kicker. People that do the easy things now never get where they want to go. It's the people that do the hard things, do the uncomfortable things, that really start finding what they're looking for. So as you're going about your journey, start looking for the difficult things. Start looking for the tough things in your business that you're avoiding. You need to be doing that stuff because that's the stuff that's going to grow your business. But that's the same stuff you're putting off and getting mad at yourself because you're putting it off. It's wild. So here's how I fixed all this for me. And it's really, really, really a simple fix, but it's not easy. That's it. It's a simple fix. It's just not easy. And the fix is take action. And here's what I know. And I know this as my truth. And it's probably your truth too. When you do things and take action, you feel better about yourself. In the moment of taking action, you don't have the thoughts that you're not good enough, you're not strong enough. You just have the action. Now, there are cases where you have some deep-seated hate. When I was doing cold calling early in my career, I can tell you I sat there on the phone going, this sucks. This sucks. Please don't answer the phone. Don't answer the phone. This sucks. Oh, crap, he answered the phone, right? And I was so miserable in that moment that I was losing the deal before the conversation even started. And I can tell you the only way I got over that was serious repetition, right? Serious regiments of doing it over and over and over again. And I can tell you I never got completely comfortable with it. Dude, I've stood in front of rooms of hundreds of people and done live dials, cold calls, and I still get the jitterbugs, But what I've found is simply by taking action, by moving forward, things start to open up and get better. It goes down to it's not about how hard you can punch. It's about how hard you can take a punch and keep moving forward. It's wild to watch people move through life. And there's several people that I see that are moving through life in a shell of themselves. And here's what it is. They're going through the motions to look like they're actually working, when in truth, they aren't doing anything. And you can really spot them. Because you walk up and you're like, how are things? And they're like, oh, it's fantastic. And then you watch how they maneuver. You watch their body language, and it's almost as their body language and everything else is saying something completely different. And, I'm curious, have you ever, been in a situation where somebody asks how it's going, and you're stressing over how to pay the bills, you're freaking out over, how I'm going to do this, do that, and as you say it's fantastic, you're in the back of your mind going, no, it's not. No, it's not. And I'm not telling you that you should go around telling people that life sucks and nobody likes a Debbie Downer. But you also shouldn't lie. So you have to find some happy medium. And some of the things that I found were I would change up the way I said things. And instead of saying, hey, life's awesome, is start saying, wow, dude, I'm learning a lot. I'm doing a lot of new things. I'm trying out some new stuff, and I'm learning a lot right now. And this is a good point in my life where I'm really learning a great lesson. And it's interesting by changing the dynamics of that statement that it reflects internally, which allows you to stand out externally. So it goes down to you're not lazy. You're just not taking action. You're not doing the things you need to be doing on a regular basis to move your business and or company forward. I know, I've been there. And, whether it was a sales slump or a slump in my business or a slump in life, it always comes down to I'm not taking the proper actions. I think people are always moving. I just don't think they're moving forward. I don't think they're moving in the direction that will progress their business forward. I think they just seem to move. And if you ever seen a zombie movie where all the zombies are like stumbling forward, or maybe it's an old factory movie where all the movements are robotic and slow and sludgy. That's how people seem to move through life. Is they seem to move through in this spirit of being like everybody else, this spirit of doing just enough to get by. And it's wild Because on one hand, the words they say, I want to be successful, I want to do more, I want to travel the world, I want to do all this, are empty because you watch the actions that they're taking and you know they don't believe the words that are coming out of their own head. So how do you take actions? What actions should you take? What's simple, I think, is what are the things that can move your business or life forward? I had the pleasure of talking with a gentleman yesterday, and we talked for a while about his product and service. And this guy was taking a massive amount of action. I mean, doing a ton. But in truth, he wasn't doing anything. See, he's one of those guys that had this cool gizmo and gadget that he sells. And this thing has a bajillion different uses. I mean, it really does. It's a cool project. It's called the Pocket Shelf. You should check it out. And it's got a lot of cool uses. The problem is he's trying to serve every market in the industry. And he has such a confused message in the marketplace that nobody's buying it. Well, I mean, he's getting sales, but nobody's buying it on a regular basis. So as we were talking, he's taking a massive amount of action, and he's putting in ridiculous amount of hours. He's just not putting in the right action. And the right action is simply this. Pick one. Guys, in your business, pick one niche. One. And go after it. And in a matter of a few questions, we figured out, that this guy had his number one place he sold this pocket shelf was to hold up baby monitors. And I'm like, why are you marketing to dorms and airports and travelers when the number one people are buying it to put their baby monitors on? I said, go get the website that says baby monitor shelf and start selling it that way. And so now he's looking to, reset it up, rebrand, and go that direction. But you could almost see his light bulbs going off in his head when he could, start taking action in one direction. And here's the interesting thing that I think is going to happen is as he continues to take direction down that path, the rest of the things he wants to sell are going to pop up. Because he's going to clarify his message so much that wives or moms and dads are going to buy these pocket shelves and realize that there's so much more versatility in ways to use these things that they're going to start buying it for other purposes. When you're taking massive actions and things aren't moving, you have to take a step back and get more narrowly focused. You can't be all things to all people. You have to get narrowly focused and get good at one. Because when you get good at one, you'll learn how to get good at more. Because now you're going to learn the process. So we'll go continue with the pocket shelf. If he figures out how to blow up the market in baby monitors, right? Baby monitor stands that stick to a wall, right? If he figures out that market, how hard is it to take all those resources and everything you've done for your business and repackage them to move it into a new sector? You already know the steps, and now you can be more fluid that if you move it into a new sector and it doesn't work, pivot, go to another one. But you got to know the first one first. You got to know how to get the first one going. And, just like me in my career, a lot of times I would be coming home sometimes feeling like I was doing a lot. I mean, a ton of things. I'd be coming home tired. But then when you looked at the day, I realized I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing shit. I was all over the damn place. I wasn't getting good at my one thing. I wasn't getting it figured out to do my one thing. So, interestingly enough, once I went laser focused on my one thing, business always got better. And it's taking action, but it's taking action in the right direction. It's taking action in the right way. When you're scatterbrained, the gremlin starts poking in and chattering at you and starts telling you you're not good enough. You're lazy. That was always my thing. Is why are you so damn lazy? Why aren't you doing more, working harder, doing more things? And it comes down to, I wasn't lazy. I've never been lazy. I've had lazy days, don't get me wrong, right? But I just wasn't taking proper actions. I was taking avoidance actions. I'm doing the things that I didn't want to do. It's because I didn't want to do the things I should be doing. So start taking actions in your life and start getting narrowly focused on what you're trying to accomplish. I really, truly believe that inside each one of us is this badass that's just waiting to be unleashed and waiting to set this damn world on fire. It's when we don't unleash that we feel mundane. We feel blah. We feel like that slow-walking zombie moving through life. That ain't you, man. You are flipping fantastic. You are strength. You're a badass, and you're a machine. But if you don't start taking actions, that zombie-like state will continue to take over your life and continue to win the day. You gotta move. And you gotta progress forward and keep pushing forward. I've often found myself, in life second guessing the next move, the next journey. I will just step now. I will just step forward because I know where I'm going. I know what the trajectory is. I know what I'm creating. I know what I'm building. And the only way I can do that is to step forward. I've launched this content company that, literally with an hour's conversation, interview style with somebody, I can turn that out with my team into a month's worth of freaking social content. We're blowing that up right now and creating a ton of content for people because people suck at content. So now every action I'm taking is leading right back to that. It's leading right back to getting people the content they need. Because everybody's telling you content. They're not wrong, right? You need a ton of content. It comes down to just what content you need to put out there. So I know that that's my business. Yes, I'm a podcaster. Yes, I'm a speaker. Yes, I'm a coach. I'm all those things. But my business is building content and helping people move forward and creating their social content for them. That's what is becoming the machine for my business. So now my actions, whether I'm on podcast or I'm on stage or I'm coaching, it's all coming back to how can I get people to want to move forward with content creation. And with that clarity, the actions get really, really, really simple. Because you can start doing the things that get you moving forward. And start doing the things that get your business progressing forward. And here's the cool thing about taking that action is it's not me that's just growing in the moment, it's the team. Every time we sell a new deal to do a content development package, the customer benefits because they get some awesome stuff they're looking for. My vendors benefits, my team benefits. All these people benefits because we're getting laser focused on what we're doing and what we're accomplishing. It's a really, really cool thing, and it makes taking action very, very, very simple. It's a lot of fun. But if you feel like your business is all over the map and you feel like you're not progressing forward in life, odds are you're just scattered. Narrow the focus. And in the words of Bull Durham, Kevin Costner, clear the mechanism. Turn off all the other stuff. I love whiteboards. I love sitting down and brainstorming stuff. The problem is sometimes I over-brainstorm. I overthink it. I put too many levels and layers in there. Not right now. The vision is there, so the actions are easy. They're not always easy, but they're easier. When you don't move in one direction, then you're forced to spread yourself so thin that you don't know which way is up. You don't know which way is moving forward. So this coming week, what I want you to focus on is how can I niche down even further in my business? I heard a gentleman speak yesterday, and it was really, really, really cool. And he said this, and he sold life insurance. And during that speech, he was showing the lady how she can set up a financial model using life insurance. And the gal got a little bit mad and said, how come my CPA never showed me this? And his response, which I think was brilliant, was simply this. It's because your CPA is really good at being a CPA. They know taxes. I'm really good at this. I know this. And the interesting thing about that phrase is CPAs should know all these different benefiting factors and whatnot, but they can't be a master of everything. They're a master of being a CPA. What are you a master of? What are you great at? What are you known for? What is your story? How do you position yourself? Is what you're doing confusing the marketplace? Is what you're selling sending out a mixed message? Get laser focused. And, when I think of a laser, I think of a very small needle-like beam that's just lighting things up. And I think that's where you need to be. You need to be so focused in one area that things get going well. Take the actions towards the processes that allow you to continue moving forward. It goes back to, guys, you're not lazy. You're just internally not happy with the choices you're making in your life. You're beating yourself up for inaction, and you're frustrated because you know you should be doing more. So do more of the right things. Do the hard stuff. Do the things that freak you out. Yesterday at an event, a young man walked up to me, sells commercial printing. And I could tell he was trying to keep a conversation going between him and I, which is cool. I love talking to people, but I know this guy's background. I know he sells commercial printing. I know sales freaks him out because it doesn't come like a natural thing for him. And we had talked in the past that he's got to become the sales guy. And I could tell that he was grasping for conversational topics so he could keep talking to me. And me being me, I just looked at him and said, "Hey, bud, where's your office?" And he goes, up the road a ways on Collins. I'm like, okay. I said, "How many businesses are between here and there?" And he goes, "Thousands. I have no idea." I said, Probably. I said, "Do me a favor. On your way back to the shop, because I know you got to get back there to do some things, I want you to stop at 5 businesses and just walk in." Dude, you should have seen this kid's face turn white. He goes, "Wait, really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You're going back to the shop. You need sales. Go stop by 5 offices." He goes, and you could hear it, every doubt, every insecurity, everything in the world was coming and bubbling to the surface. I said, "Dude, that's the thing. When you feel that emotion pop up, on one hand, you should be doing it, and the other hand, it makes you damn near sick to your stomach. Close the gap. Do it. Do that thing." Here's what's funny, is after he left, he sent me a text that said, "If I die of a heart attack, it's on you." Because he was freaking out so bad about doing these walk-ins. About a half hour later, he sends me another text. He said, "I almost puked, but I did it." I responded, "Dude, I'm proud of you." He may not do it again. He may not go do more walk-ins because it was such a shock to the system. But he could finish out that day knowing he did something that was far out of his comfort zone. He did something that could move him forward. And if he did that every day, he'd find a real business for himself. His sales would really start to climb. But I get it. It's freaky to do that kind of stuff. Not everybody likes doing it. So I challenge you. What's the actions you should be taking in your business that are freaking you out? That are making you nauseous to think about doing? Then start doing that. Start going after that. Start creating that path, that learning while taking action. Because I promise you guys, they say everything you want's on the other side of fear, and there's a lot of truth in that. A lot of truth in that. But there's more truth in understanding that taking that hit and keep moving forward, that's when the magic happens. It's embracing that fear, unleashing your inner badass, and going for it. Not holding back, leaning into it. And doing those particular things that are freaking you out. This week, go do the things that are freaking you out. Do the hard stuff. Because that is how life gets fun. That is how life gets good. Go big and loud, guys.
You know what, guys? Really, thank you for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun putting these together. I wanted to make sure before we get out of here that you knew what we were doing with social content. what we found was because of the podcast, we have a unique way of helping you get your social content out on a very easy way. What we're doing is we're interviewing people. And from that interview, we will capture a lot of information that will then be turned into videos, memes, articles, all things you can use for your social content. I know, like for me, one of the biggest struggles I had was, what do I put out there? What do I say on a regular basis? Well, we'll help do all that for you. So if this is at all of interest to you, reach out to us and let us help you grow your social media channel. I can tell you I did this for my business, and my social media is completely taking off. My Instagram, since I started doing this, jumped to over 10,000 followers, and it continues to grow. So if this is at all of interest to you, check the bottom of the show notes for the link that says, "Get my social content done right now."